Now we should talk about different types of companies and so on. As I said, there are many countries and states with different laws, so whatever they are called or how they are working and the law around them can be different from there. So you have to find out what is actually for you. But let me just talk a little about it. These limited companies, which maybe sometimes they call incorporated or something, they are companies where the owner is separate from the company. So it's a juridical person, the company, and the owner or owners are different. And there are two types. There are public, such limited companies, which are possible to have shares sold in the stock market and so on. And there are private such, which are only to be held by one or few involved people in that company. And when you have this type of companies, you can give a loan to the company, but you can not take a loan from the company normally. There might be some country or state with a different law, but normally that's it. And you cannot have same bank accounts for yourself as for the company, so they should all be separate. And how do you get money from such a company? Well, if you employ yourself, you can get a salary, but then you have to pay all the fees for that, of course. Or then you have the dividends who can be given out after the end of the year, financial year for the company, where all the books are closed, and after seeing everything, then you can have this annual meeting for the company where you decide so and so should be there. Normally, when you have this company, you're registering it, and you need to write documents. There is one more important thing, and that is you are allowed to do that kind of business normally only, which you have written in the documents for the company. So if you say that you are going to have cafeteria and restaurant activities in the papers, you're not supposed to be an export company for machines, for instance, because that's not what it's registered for. So you have there. Another type is the proprietorship. Then you and the company are the same, basically. You should still use separate bank accounts to keep better order on your what's yours and not. And you should see yourself what belongs to the company and what doesn't belong. But compared to the limited and other such companies where, for instance, a car either belongs to you or to them, it can be a bit confusing when you have a proprietorship, but you're using it in the company part and partly for your private, and then you have to see with the tax authorities how you need to bookkeep it, how you should do it, so it will be no problem with them. Then there are different types of partnerships. Now, people can be in partners owning shares in a limited company, and that's not what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about partnerships where people go in as a private persons and start a company where they are themselves responsible for the company. Like the proprietorship, in such partnerships, if the company loses money and someone has the right to demand some money from the company and the company doesn't have the money in their account, they can come to you, because you have the ownership in that, and as an owner in a partnership company, you must share out with the money from your private money if it goes with a loss or something else. You have to be careful with this thing, and there are many other forms. And okay, let's take a short break from my mouth and let you see something more about different forms of company. Now you have seen some examples, and there are more examples that could be mentioned, and as I said, very different in different countries or states and so on, so it can be confusing, and the same type can have different names in different places and so on. And what you also saw there, which is important, is the European Union, if you are there, is special laws. For instance, in the European Union, if you have a company in one country, you can be allowed to put up a branch office in some other country. But that country branch office then have to pay tax in that country before you are closing the books in the main company, and then the head office, you can say, and that head office is then paying tax where it is also. But you normally have to allowed to deduct what you have paid in tax in the branch. But these are something that's possible. Plus there are especially EU companies where the owners come from different countries, and you can read about them on the European Union webpage. Now you come also, where should you have your company? Normally you have it where you are living or where you are operating from, like that. You register it there. Something you can split, have an office there and some activity somewhere else, but as long as you're in one and the same jurisdiction, and a jurisdiction is an area with the same law, then normally you can be a bit free. But otherwise you have to see, because otherwise you may need to have daughter companies or open up special systems and whatever you are doing. So let's see a little where you can put up your company. Now you have seen where you can put up a company, that's good. Let us now just say a few final words. First thing I want to say final here is that tax, you are paying tax from your company, of course, and there will be different structures. If you have a like type limited company, the company typically pays tax from its profit and so on, and then you pay tax for your salary, or the company pay it for you, and then you pay tax on your dividends, which you get out from the profit of the company when they share it out once a year. And I know, for instance, from England that there have been different systems where you can have some kind of agreement with the tax authority also, how much you're reasonable to earn, and they can have some agreement in advance how much you should pay. So there are different systems in different countries. But some people are very constantly in saving tax from day one. And I say, if you are in a new project, concentrate on getting the project up and running and functioning. And then, if you have something that's working and you start to earn a lot of money where the taxes are a problem, then think of how to solve it. There are different solutions then. But it is, I've seen people who want, for instance, to raise their company in a tax haven or somewhere, and then they only spend some money on that, and then they do something that is not by the law, and then they have problem for that, and then they end up paying a lot of money for closing down these companies that were very cheap to start, and so on and so on. So don't make things complicated in the beginning. Concentrate on getting it up and do things as simple and good as possible in the beginning. And then when you have something and you have 5 years of successful business, or at least 3 years of that, then you can say, yeah, this seems to be working, now let's see what more we can do. And finally, one little detail. What is it that your company is owning, and what is it that you are owning? Because in a company, for instance, you have a company name, you have brand names maybe, you can register it. You can have trading names you're using, you can have patents, rights and copyrights and things. Who owns what on that? That you have to see. If you put it in the company, then the company has a higher value, which is a positive way. But later, if you're changing or changing form, and maybe you say, I close this company and start a new one because I want to do it a different way, then it can be quite complicated to move from one to the other, at least a bit complicated. So think also who owns what, and try to plan from that point of view. On our webpage, you are finding the questions that are related to this film. So go to our webpage to see the questions you should answer.